In this mixed list, we check out a brief history of one of America's most beloved sports, football. American football started out as a cross between early versions of association football or soccer and its more intense cousin rugby in the mid-19th century. Early history of the sport indicates there was no single variety of the game played, as some schools played only soccer, others only played rugby, while others played various combinations of the two with no formalized rules. The first college football was said to be played on November 6, 1869, between Princeton University and Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, using a modified version of the Football Association's first set of rules, a game that laid the groundwork for modern American football as we know it today. Following the Princeton versus Rutgers match, other Eastern universities and colleges started playing the game using the same rules or making their own versions of them, until in 1873 when the said universities and colleges met with one another to standardize the rules to be used based more on the Football Association's set of regulation. Harvard, however, refused to attend the said meeting and continued to play the game by their own rules, favoring more on the rugby side. As more schools are becoming more drawn to Harvard's style of play, another meeting was deemed necessary to standardize new game guidelines. Thus, the Massasoit Convention took place on November 23, 1876, establishing rules based mostly on Rugby Football Union's code from England. By 1880, the sport underwent another significant development thanks to Walter Camp, who proposed rule changes during the Massasoit Convention, including establishing the line of scrimmage, the snap from center to quarterback, and cutting down the players in the team from 15 to 11. Camp also proposed several significant changes throughout his football career, such as the introduction of the All-American teams, helping in the creation of the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or NCAA, and pushing for making the sport more about speed and skill versus relying on brute and strength alone, a change that helped lessen the number of injuries from the sport that was becoming increasingly brutal. Moving into the 20th century, football started to gain traction amongst the general population, with competitions and games taking place in localized areas. In one of such games, Pittsburgh club, the Allegheny Athletic Association, hired former Yale All-American guard William Pudge Heffelfinger to play for them against the Pittsburgh Athletic Club, making him the first ever professional football player and giving way to the birth of professional football. On September 3, 1895, the first wholly professional game was played between the Latrobe Athletic Association and the Jeannette Athletic Club, with Latrobe's quarterback John Brayler becoming the first player to openly admit to being paid to play football at $10 plus expenses. By 1897, the Latrobe Athletic Association started paying all its team players for the season, making them the first fully professional football team to play a full season. Through the years, professional football had undergone a number of changes in its rules, team plays, and scoring, until it got to a point in 1920 where it encountered three major problems. Number 1, dramatically rising player salaries. Number 2, players constantly jumping from one team to another depending on who paid more. And number 3, the use of college players still enrolled in their schools. These problems prompted the formation of the American Professional Football Conference in August 20th of the same year. 1 month later, the league changed its name to American Professional Football Association, adding to its Ohio League team roster teams from Buffalo and Rochester, New York, Hammond from Detroit, and other teams from nearby circuits. By 1922, the organization changed its name for the final time to the National Football League, or NFL. Other rival leagues have emerged since then, but the NFL managed to fend them off for a few more decades until it encountered its most serious competitor in 1960, the American Football League, or AFL. The two leagues pitted against each other heavily for players and fans, but later on considered merging together when the strain of competition proved too much to keep up. As part of the NFL and AFL merger agreement, the champions of the two leagues would engage in a World Championship game of pro football until the merger takes effect in 1970. The games would take on the name Super Bowl thanks to the owner of Kansas City Chiefs, Lamar Hunt, who kept using it in reference to the NFL-AFL games in the merger meetings, despite initial opposition within the league itself. American football has continued to evolve through the years, and with it, the growing passion and perseverance of its players and fans, making it the beloved sport it is today.